Well, Dalton, first of all, before we get to the fight talk, what's your beef with AEW? I just heard you say you don't really want to talk about it much anymore.
No, it's not that I want to talk about it. I was just joking around. We were talking about it a lot on the virtual interviews over there in the other room. And, on the way in, everybody's like, oh, here comes the pro wrestler, Dalton Rosta, AEW. And as soon as I walk out, I hear them talking about it again. So, it seemed to be like the question of the week. So I was just making fun with it.
Is that a moniker you want to shake at some point? Does it just really not bother you right now?
I'm sorry?
Is that like being the pro wrestler guy something like you want to shake, or does it really bother you when people always want to talk about it?
No, I mean, I'll go with it. I don't care. I like the stuff. I grew up on it. I watched it as a little kid, super into it, had the video games, had the action figures. Obviously I'm a lot older, a lot more mature now. But, if I get the opportunity to do it again, I 100% will.
Sure. And I have to ask about the suit. We've had a couple fighters come in, they're wearing the workout gear, they're here for media. You're here, full suit, suited up, everything 10 out of 10 fit. So what's the thoughts behind showing up like this for media day?
I appreciate it, man. I just mean business, and I want to show it all week long. I want to show up for the media, showing that I mean business, showing that I'm here to make a statement. Same thing with fight day. And that's all this is for me, I want to have fun, but at the same time, this is business at the end of the day. And, with being from Pittsburgh and having David Allen clothing, David Allen at really my disposal, and, to have him support me and be behind me, you can't not wear his stuff, you know what I mean? He's one of the best in the game whenever it comes to suits. And he does people like John Cena, talking about professional wrestlers. He works with the Jacksonville Jaguars, Miami Dolphins, plenty of celebrities and stuff. So to get to wear and represent his brand, it's awesome.
How much do you know about your opponent before his name came across your contract?
So I honestly never heard of him before, and then I seen Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
Sure.
First.
No, it's gonna go with
Yeah. First they talk about professional wrestling, first thing that comes across, But I knew nothing about him, I'm gonna be honest. He fought on the prelims on the Sergey Karatanov and Czech Congo card, and I watched that card, but I didn't catch all the prelims. I don't know what I was doing. I usually try to catch them all, but I would have recognized the name had I seen his fight, had I been watching that one. However, I wasn't, and whenever I looked him up, I seen that fight. I seen he got 64-second Darce choke, which pretty impressive. But the quality of opponent obviously isn't what I was facing. I was facing Tony Johnson, 9-2, professional MMA, knocked out Joe Schilling, world champion kickboxer. I was fighting Ty Gorder before that. He hasn't fought the level of opponents that I have. And even though he's athletic, even though he's a good striker, I think that this is a big step up in competition for him, and I think that he's going to realize that as soon as the cage locks on Saturday night.
Well, going off of that, I was looking at the odds for this card, and I think you're the biggest betting favorite on this whole card. So does that surprise you at all?
No, it doesn't. Looking at, like I said, his strength of schedule with his opponents and everything, I figured that it would be that way, and me being a prospect, me being 5-0, me being in and out of the rankings, top 10 and then out in the top 10, I figured it would be that way. And he's relatively less known than I am. But with my last fight with Tony Johnson, same way. The fight with Ty Gorder before that was probably the closest betting odds I've ever had. I try not to pay attention to that stuff. My friends, they're big into betting. They want to make money on me all the time. They're texting me like, man, what's up with you guys with your betting odds? I want to make some money on you. I can't make any money off these. I have to throw $800 down just to win 100, So, I don't think much of it. It doesn't influence my viewpoint on my opponent. But it's, I wish they were a little bit closer of odds so my friends can make some money, you know what I mean?
Sure. Is it difficult to gauge your skills when you're in there at all, just because of the potential skill advantages that you have maybe against this guy on the ground? Like, is it harder for you to gauge when you see those odds? You go out there and you've been performing really well, dominating. So is it more difficult for you to kind of, when you're in there, see how good you are?
That's a tough question to answer. Each fight, I just want to do I want to do better than I did the fight before. I'm in competition with myself. So regardless of who they put in front of me, I want to improve each and every single day, each and every single week, and each and every single fight. So I'm going to go out there, put on the best performance I possibly can. I trained, I recovered, I did everything possible that I possibly could to give on the best performance that I possibly can on Saturday night, and Saturday night I think that's what we're going to see.
You were originally scheduled to face Romero Cotton, who was a guy I know you were calling for over and over and over again. Was that a bummer that he withdrew from the fight? Were you bummed out about that?
Yeah, because, you know, we talked after my last fight about the rankings a little bit on the way to the interview, after the interview, everything. You know, obviously the media is in charge of those. They vote on it and everything. But I thought for sure after my last fight, after beating Tony Johnson, I would have for sure been ranked above him. Then they put me in top 10. He was ranked still above me after that. And I was, you know, done with him after that, after he pulled out the first 2 times. Then I was asked about it, and I was like, you know what? I want the fight again. Just because he's ranked above me, I feel like I got something to prove. But then next thing you know, he ends up accepting the fight after 8-9 months of silence, just radio silence, calling him out on Instagram, calling him out on Twitter, calling him out in interviews. You know, having Rich Chow and the matchmakers push for the fight, and just straight silence, nobody hearing back from the dude. And then finally he takes the fight. I was expecting him to pull out. I was hoping he didn't, but I was expecting. I told my teammates, my friends, my manager, I think he's going to pull out. You know, and then sure enough, 3 weeks before the fight, he pulled out. So, you know, I was a little disappointed, but it was expected. I think that just goes to show, you know, whatever excuse he has, it happening 3 times in a row, I don't think it's anything besides the fact that he's scared, that he doesn't want to actually fight. So, I mean, that should say enough, and I think the media should take care of the rankings, but at this point, I don't even really care, because they'll work themselves out, and sooner or later, either because of inactivity or him losing a fight, whenever he takes a step up in competition, he's going to be knocked out of him. So I'm past that fight. I don't want to take the fight anymore. I'm tired of preparing for somebody for 8 weeks, and then 2 weeks notice I have to switch up the game plan. You know what I mean? So I'm done with that.
So are there other people on your mind maybe on Saturday we'll hear you call out, or are you not a guy was Romero just kind of the guy you really wanted at that point in time?
You know, I don't like to look past, you know, anybody. I don't want to look past any of my opponents or anything, because I do have a tough fight in front of me Saturday night. You know, I think I'm going to go out there and put on a dominant performance, but I got to stay focused. However, that being said, I am looking forward to fights with a couple people after this, you know, that being Mike Shipman or Charlie Ward. You know, they're ranked 6 and 7 or 7 and 8, whatever they are. So I want to fight guys that are ranked above me. You know, I don't want to can crush. That's never been who I am. I've always taken the tough fights, and, you know, I want to prove my worth, and that's that. So either Mike Shipman or Charlie Ward.
Would you go overseas to fight Charlie Ward?
I seen there's a card in London. You know, I wanted a quick turnaround just because of my long layoff. After my last fight, I had injuries I was dealing with, and then after I got ready, they couldn't get me on cards were full. But, you know, if they gave me Mike Shipman or Charlie Ward and sent me over to London to do it over in the UK, sure.